is Nicki of Nicki Hearts Cards, and I'm here again today for Kat Scrappiness, and we are going to be making a fun snowman card. So she has this adorable die set, some great papers. I love this snowflake background. It's going to make it so easy to make this card, and we're going to do it as a slimline. So I hope that you will stick with me. Make sure if you haven't done it yet that you hit the subscribe button, and please know that everything will be linked in the description below. So let's get right into this card. This slimline paper that she has is plenty big for a slimline. I always cut mine down to 3.5. The width of this is actually 4, so it gives you that little extra if you need it. And then I usually do a 3.5 by an 8, and so I cut off a little bit more to get it to the right size. So I'm going to go to 8 here and make this paper the right size. So you see you've got some extra paper if you're making what to me is a regular slimline size. So just know that when you're buying these packs of paper, lots of different things you can do. This glittery paper that I have here, I am not sure exactly where that came from. It was in my scraps in my stash of paper. So I don't think this came from Kat Scrappiness, but she does have some amazing glitter papers. And I just think if you're gonna make a quick card and you're doing snow, there's a lot of ways you can make snow, but this is the easiest. I wanted to show you all the pieces that come with this snowman. So I'm going to be clipping them apart and just telling you, she's got these great clippers too that'll clip your dies apart. So it's basically the back of the snowman, and then we've got a hat, a scarf, we got its arms, a little carrot nose, some buttons, and some eyes. So you could do so much with this. It's so cute, and I love that stitched pattern around it. I'm going to show you how this all comes together. We're going to do the background of the snowman in this glittery paper. Everything else I'm going to color with Copic markers. So I'll show you what colors I use and how we do that. So I cut all the little extra pieces out of just some plain white, like Nina Solar White, and I'm going to color these with Copics. We're going to start with the little stick arms. I'm going to start with E23 is just kind of my lighter version, and I'll pop these up on the screen. And then I'm going to go back in and highlight where I think there's shadows with the darker color just to give it some good depth. You have a couple pieces like this too, especially you're wanting to make shadows. It's good to put them how you're going to have them on your snowman. So you see I flipped this guy over because I realized, oh, that's how his arm is going to go. I would have had it backwards and done my shadows on the wrong end. With something that's small, it may not matter too much, but it's always a good idea to have it the way that it's going to be going on the snowman so that you know where you're going to put all of these little highlights, and you hate to waste your coloring doing all of this stuff and then have it turned the wrong way. Next, I'm going to skip ahead to my little carrot nose. One thing that I think gives this carrot a little bit more depth and excitement, I'm just going to color it solid with the YR04, but then I'm going to go in and kind of add the stripes like a regular carrot would have with a darker color, YR08. I'll pop both of those up on the screen, but coloring something this small is hard to do because it wants to stick to your marker. So I'm going to add my little lines with this YR08, and then I'm going to go back in with the YR04 and kind of smooth everything out. So as you can see in this clip, that gives that carrot just a little bit more depth, having that darker color there. So I just thought that was a cool idea, and let's move on to our next item. A quick hint is if you got all these little pieces that you're going to be using, these triangle trays are great for just storing the little pieces. I will knock them on the floor and not be able to find them. I am just a mess sometimes when I'm crafting. So I feel like those little triangle trays help me out, and Kat Scrappiness does sell those. She's got lots of different colors, which I really like, because you could kind of organize on your desk by color what you were going to use. With this hat, I want to make sure I leave the center bright so that it gives it some good dimension. So we started with C5 and we're going to C8, and then we're going to come in with my 100, which is like a black marker. So I'm speeding this up because I want you to see the process, but I know this can get a little bit boring watching coloring. So I'm going to speed it up, kind of show you what I did, and I'll pop up those colors on the screen so that you will have them. I did also scoot in the zoom here so that maybe you could see how to leave this middle a little bit lighter. I love leaving the middle of things lighter. It just really gives a great effect at the end. So make sure you look at that final picture and you'll see it's subtle, but it looks amazing on a card. So here it is up close so you can see. Now we're going to move to coloring the scarf with R37, and then I'm also going to use R46. I will definitely pop those up on the screen. And same general idea, starting with my lightest color, and then I'll go back in and I'll add highlights with the darker color. So I'm not going to take you through all that besides just giving you the colors that I used, and we'll move on to putting the card together. So this part I really sped up because I know you know how to put this together. I just wanted to show you how I did it. A couple of hints I have are to always use liquid glue when you're assembling something like this so that you can move your placement around a little bit. You can't move things that are like a double-sided adhesive quite as easily because you've got a little bit of time before the glue dries, and so to me it just helps me kind of move this around a little bit easier. The other thing is to use some kind of tool with a pointy end that'll help you pick up things, and just get it all laid out, glue it down, and there you go. Here's how he looks up close. I love this paper, and I love how precious these little add-ons are. You see I got a little bit of glue right there that makes it kind of not as shiny, so I will use a piece of just like a Q-tip and get that off. A lot of times you can rinse it off. I'm going to start by making these little hills for him to stand on. These are in a set that I will include at the end. It's a set for making a winter scene, and we're going to put these on here so that our little snowman has a place to stand. I'm using that same glittery paper for this, and like I said, remember I cut this to a slimline size, so when I first looked at this little snowman I was like, I don't know if he's going to be enough to fill up a slimline, but he really is. So especially you got some hills down here, you got him, and then we're going to put a sentiment above him, so I'll show you how all that fits together. One thing that I didn't add to my snowman was his little arms. I wanted to wait to add his arms until he was on the card because my luck, I would accidentally make the arms too long and they would come off the card. So I usually, if there's something sticking out from my die like this, I like to wait till I've got it on what it's going to be on. So this piece of paper and the correct dimensions, and then put my other parts on so that I know that they fit appropriately in the picture. And I always love to pop up the main focal point with some foam tape. In this case, I'll try to show you in the last picture if I can make it clear, but I thought it was quite interesting with this being up a little bit higher in the light and with all of that sparkly paper, it actually makes a little bit of a shadow that looks like you colored the shadow in. So I was pleasantly surprised with that. I didn't plan on it, but there's something about using a real iridescent paper like that that gives it that shadow effect. I'll put that in the end and try to point that out to you. Okay, I'm going to pop up an arrow because you can see the shadow right here. You see how in different lights that shows you a little shadow just by having it popped up with the foam. Such a cool idea, and really makes a difference on your card. So I'll try to show you that in other pictures. You can see it again right here. You can see the little side shadow that it shows. And this Snowflake Kisses fits perfectly on this 3.5-inch card. So I'm going to put this as my little sentiment up here. We're going to use the same colors that we did in the snow. And I've got these little bitty snowflakes that it cuts out, and that snowflake cuts out even a little smaller one on the inner edge, almost like a little star there. So I'm going to layer this with several, I did already layer it with several layers of white so that it pops up a little bit and also gives me a little bit of dimension on here. And then I'm going to use those little middle parts of the snowflakes to just kind of add some extra sparkle to the background. So these little things I'm just going to add around here. I looked at adding the bigger snowflakes, but since this background of paper has a lot of bigger snowflakes, it seemed like I was just crowding it a little bit too much. So I'm just going to add the middle parts kind of around the Snowflake Kisses. That gives it a nice extra little area that's kind of sparkly so that you can see it. You could also just use some type of little jewels or anything you want for that. Okay, so we're done with this card. Check out all of this sparkle. I feel like this is a great card just to send in the winter, but I feel like it could also be a Valentine's card if you wanted it to be. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a good time with you. I'm Nikki of Nicki Hearts Cards. Make sure you click through the links below if you're interested in any of these products, and please subscribe to the Kat Scrappiness channel. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.